This is Earl Nightingale, speaking to you from a quiet studio, where the truths of life echo like the solemn chime of a lighthouse bell, cutting through the fog of a restless sea, calling to those who wander, who seek, who yearn to awaken from the slumber of routine. Before we embark on this journey, a journey that may stir the dormant fire within you, that may shatter the chains of a life unchosen, that may lead you to the dominion of your own soul, I extend a heartfelt invitation to join our fellowship of seekers. These are the souls who dare to question, who burn with the spark of awareness, who refuse to drift through life asleep. If this message kindles a light in your heart, if it stirs the dreamer within you, I urge you to share it with others by subscribing to this program. Write to us, share your thoughts in our great conversation, and let us know you stand with us by leaving your mark of approval. Your voice strengthens this circle, and together we can forge a brotherhood of those who awaken, who think, who live. Now, settle in, for we speak of a truth so piercing, so unshakable. It has been feared by those who would keep you asleep, who would program your thoughts, who would bind your soul to the gray rhythm of sameness. You're being programmed, my friends, but you can wake up now. This is the truth that can set you free, the whisper that becomes thunder, the key that unlocks the prison of your mind. Will you hear it? Will you heed it? Will you become it? The choice is yours, and the moment is now. Let's begin. There are truths, my friends, so potent they ripple through the ages like a stone cast into a still pond, so radiant they pierce the veil of time, so profound they awaken the soul from its deepest slumber. One such truth began as a whisper, barely audible, passed from philosopher to prophet, from mentor to merchant, from poet to plowman, until it grew, swelling like a tide, resounding like a bell, until it became thunder, shaking the hearts of those who heard it, lifting them from the shadows of a life unchosen to the light of a destiny they forged. This truth is not a secret hidden in ancient scrolls, nor a treasure buried beneath the earth, nor a flame reserved for the fortunate few. It is the realization that you are being programmed, that what you believe to be your thoughts are often echoes, shadows, whispers placed there by others, by systems, by the silent hum of a world that prefers you asleep. Picture a village, its streets winding beneath a twilight sky, its people moving in rhythm with the toll of a clock tower, their days measured by tasks they did not choose, their dreams dimmed by thoughts they did not question. Into this village comes a sage, his eyes alight with a fire that burns through the fog, his voice carrying a phrase that stirs the air like a wind before a storm. He speaks of awakening, of the mind as a forge where destiny is shaped, of the soul as a garden where freedom can grow. The villagers listen, their hearts quickening, their eyes lifting from the ground to the stars, but the keepers of order grow uneasy. These words, they declare, are too bold, too dangerous, too bright. They threaten the rhythm of the village, the predictability of its harvest, the silence of its routine. And so, they hush the sage, they warn the people to forget his words, to return to their plows, their looms, their ledgers, to let the clock tower dictate their days, to let the fog of sameness settle over their souls. But truth, my friends, is not so easily silenced. It is like a fire that, once kindled, cannot be extinguished, like a river that, once loosed, cannot be dammed, like a star that, once risen, cannot be hidden, like a seed that, once planted, cannot be uprooted. The sage's words spread, whispered in the glow of hearths, shared in the quiet of fields, carried on the winds that sweep across oceans and plains, etched into the hearts of those who dare to listen. They reached the blacksmith, his forge a sanctuary of heat and iron, his heart stirred by the possibility of shaping not just tools, but a life of purpose, a destiny forged by his own thoughts. They reached the farmer, his hands deep in the earth, his soul awakened to the vision of fields that grow not just crops, but dreams, a garden tended by his own mind. They reached the poet, her pen poised above a blank page, her mind ignited by the call to write verses that will awaken the world, a tapestry woven by her own soul. They reached the merchant, his shop a hub of trade, his heart stirred by the dream of markets that connect not just goods, but hearts, a bridge built by his own vision. They reached the seamstress, her needle flashing in the candlelight, her heart awakened to the possibility of creating not just garments, but beauty, a legacy shaped by her own thoughts. These words, once a whisper, became thunder, a resounding call that pierced the fog of programming, that shattered the chains of conformity, that lit a fire in the souls of those who heard them. I shared a fragment of this truth years ago in a message called The Strangest Secret, when I said, we become what we think about most of the time, and that's the strangest secret. These words, so simple yet so profound, are the key that unlocks the prison of a programmed mind, the spark that ignites the fire of awareness, the seed that grows into a garden of freedom. They're the thunder that can awaken you, if you will hear them, if you will speak them, if you will live them. And so, I ask you, listener, do you hear that whisper in the quiet of your heart? Do you feel its gentle nudge, its persistent call, its promise of awakening? Will you let it pass like a breeze through the trees? Or will you let it become thunder, shaking the foundations of your life, lighting a fire that no force can extinguish? What is the richest life, my friends? Is it a life of gold, of fine garments, of houses that gleam in the sunlight? Or is it a life of vision, of peace, of personal dominion? A life where you are the master of your thoughts, the captain of your soul, the gardener of your destiny? The richest life begins with awareness, with the realization that you have been programmed, that the thoughts you carry are often not your own, that the path you walk was laid by others, that the blindfold you were was placed there by hands unseen. This awareness is the seed of freedom, planted deep within your soul at birth, waiting to be watered with courage, nourished with truth, lit with faith, tended with purpose. Yet how forgotten, how neglected, how buried deep this seed lies. Beneath the weight of routine, it waits, smothered by the fog of conformity, dimmed by the fear of change, hidden by the dust of habit. Picture a man, his days spent in a gray office, his hands busy with tasks he does not question, his heart heavy with a longing he cannot name. He believes his thoughts are his own, yet they are echoes, echoes of schoolmasters who taught him to obey, of merchants who sold him dreams of comfort, of voices that told him to stay small, to keep his fire unlit, to walk the path of others. He lives his life never realizing he is in a prison, never seeing that the door is unlocked, never grasping that the key is in his hand, never planting the seed of awareness that could set him free. This seed, my friends, is the treasure you already hold, the key to a life of dominion, the spark that can light the fire of your soul, the root that can grow into a garden of greatness. It is not found in distant lands, nor in the ledgers of merchants, nor in the halls of scholars. It is in your mind, in your ability to see the blindfold, to question the echoes, to choose your thoughts, to tend the soil of your beliefs. Picture the farmer, his fields stretching beneath a wide sky, his heart once heavy with the weight of toil, believing his life must follow the rhythm of his father's, never questioning the seeds he plants, never seeing the blindfold of habit. He plows without vision, harvests without joy, and wonders why his fields yield only enough to survive, why his soul remains barren, why his life feels like a river he did not choose. Picture the seamstress, her fingers swift with the needle, her dreams buried beneath the weight of routine, believing her work must be humble, never questioning the patterns she follows, never seeing the blindfold of conformity. She stitches without passion, and wonders why her garments lack beauty, why her heart aches for more, why her soul remains a spark unlit. Picture the clerk, his days spent in the shadow of a ledger, his mind filled with figures he does not question, believing his life must be small, never seeing the blindfold of fear. He counts without purpose, and wonders why his days feel like chains, why his heart grows cold, why his life feels like a tapestry unwoven. The seed of awareness is within you, my friends, not in the world beyond. It is the courage to see the blindfold, the will to remove it, the faith to choose your thoughts, the purpose to tend the garden of your mind. Yet how forgotten this seed remains, buried beneath the dust of a programmed life, smothered by the voices that tell you to conform, to obey, to drift. The world would have you believe that awareness is dangerous, that to question is folly, that to awaken is to risk the comfort of sleep. But I tell you now, the wise know this truth. To live without awareness is to live in a prison, to walk with a blindfold, to drift on a river you did not choose, to leave the seed of your soul unplanted. Picture the poet, her chamber lit by a single candle, her heart alive with verses unvoiced, who does not seek beauty in distant lands, but in the quiet of her own mind, planting seeds of awareness that bloom into lines that awaken the world. Picture the sailor, his ship tethered to the harbor, his heart yearning for uncharted seas, who does not seek freedom in the horizon, but in the courage to steer his own course, planting seeds of awareness that grow into a life of discovery. Picture the merchant, his shop a hub of trade, who does not seek wealth in gold, but in the vision to connect hearts, planting seeds of awareness that bloom into a legacy of harmony. The seed is in the farmer's courage to question his fields, in the seamstress's will to weave her dreams, in the clerk's faith to think beyond his ledger, in your power to awaken, to choose, to live. And so, I ask you, listener, do you feel that seed within you? Do you sense its quiet presence, its gentle pulse, its promise of freedom? Will you nurture it, water it with courage, light it with truth, or will you let it lie dormant, buried beneath the weight of a programmed life? Will you remove the blindfold, or will you remain in the fog, drifting on a river you did not choose? This truth, this seed of awareness, is not new, my friends, nor is it hidden. It is as old as the mountains, as timeless as the tides, as eternal as the stars that guide the sailor's way, as enduring as the fire that burns in the forge of the heart, as steadfast as the roots that anchor a garden, as boundless as the river that seeks the sea. The wise of every age knew it, lived it, built their lives upon it, leaving legacies that stand like the marble of ancient Rome, like the verses of poets, like the ships that crossed uncharted waters, like the tapestries woven by hands that shaped eternity. The Stoics of Greece, men like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, understood that the mind is a forge where destiny is shaped, that a man's thoughts are the hammer and anvil with which he crafts his life, the seeds with which he sows his garden. They taught that most men sleep with their eyes open, that only a few awaken to the power of their own thoughts, that to live is to choose, to think, to forge, to plant, to weave. Their wisdom was not mere philosophy. It was a fire that burned through centuries, a tapestry of truth that guided souls through the fog of existence, a compass for the heart. The builders of empires, from the architects of Babylon to the captains of Rome, knew that their greatness began not with stone or steel, but with thought, with the courage to envision a world beyond the horizon, with the faith to plant seeds of progress that would bloom for generations. They thought not just of conquest, but of creation, and their cities became a tapestry of human will, a foundation for history, a river of achievement that flowed through time. The captains of sea and steel, their ships braving storms, their forges glowing with molten iron, knew that their work was not merely labor, but vision, vision that carried explorers to new shores, that forged tools to shape the future, that wove a tapestry of discovery. They thought not just of sails or swords, but of destinies, and their creations became a compass for humanity, a fire that burned through the ages. Consider the humble poet, her chamber lit by a single candle, her heart alive with beauty unvoiced, who knew that her verses were not mere words, but seeds, seeds that could awaken the soul, that could light a fire in the hearts of those who read them, that could weave a tapestry of truth. She thought not just of writing, but of eternity, and her lines became a beacon, a legacy that outlived her years, a river that carried her vision to the sea. Picture the blacksmith, his forge a sanctuary of heat and iron, his hands skilled but his heart yearning for more, who knew that his work was not merely tools, but a forge of thought, a place where he could shape not just metal, but his life. He thought not just of hammers, but of purpose, and his creations became a testament to his will, a tapestry woven with the fire of his soul. Picture the sailor, his ship a vessel of dreams, his heart alive with the call of the sea, who knew that his course was not merely a path through water, but a journey of the mind, a steering of his own destiny. He thought not just of ports, but of freedom, and his voyages became a bridge to new worlds, a tapestry woven with the threads of his courage. As I said in Lead the Field, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. The wise of every age knew this, my friends. They knew that their thoughts were the blueprint, the compass, the spark, the seed, the thread that could lead them to a life of dominion, not just over lands or gold, but over their own souls, their own destinies, their own tapestries. They knew that to think is to create, to dream is to build, to envision is to become, to sow is to reap, to weave is to endure. This truth was not reserved for the mighty, nor hidden from the humble. It was known to the farmer who thought of abundant harvests and worked to make them real, planting a garden that fed the world. It was known to the seamstress who thought of beauty and crafted garments that clothed the heart with hope, weaving a tapestry of grace. It was known to the poet who thought of eternal truths and spoke them to the world, lighting a fire that burned through centuries. It was known to the merchant who thought of harmony and built a trade that spanned continents, forging a bridge of unity. It was known to the sailor who thought of discovery and charted seas unknown, weaving a tapestry of possibility. It was known to the clerk who thought of progress and built a life beyond the ledger, planting a seed that bloomed for generations. The wise were not different from you, my friends. They were simply awake, their minds alive with thoughts of what could be, their hearts bold with the fire of purpose, their hands weaving a tapestry of greatness. They spoke the truth, they lived the truth, they sowed the seeds, they built the bridges, they kindled the fires, they wove the tapestries, and they reaped the riches of a life well lived. And so, I ask you, listener, will you join them? Will you think as they thought, dream as they dreamed, act as they acted, sow as they sowed, weave as they wove? If this message has stirred your soul, if it has awakened the seeker within you, join our fellowship. Write to us, share your thoughts, and let us know you're with us by leaving your mark of approval. Let us stand together as those who know the truth, as those who speak the words, as those who live the freedom, as those who weave the tapestry. Will you let the wisdom of the ages pass you by, or will you claim it as your own, planting the seed, lighting the fire, weaving the tapestry? Will you think like the wise, or will you drift with the many? Will you awaken, or will you remain asleep, lost in the fog of echoes? Why, then, do so few awaken to this truth, while so many lives remain asleep, not living but drifting, not free but bound, not forging their own destinies but echoing the thoughts of others, not weaving tapestries, but leaving their lives with blank canvases. The answer lies in the great machinery of the world, the systems that lull men to sleep, that wrap their minds in chains of comfort, that bind their souls to the silent tick of sameness, that shroud their lives in a fog of routine. Picture a vast plain, shrouded in mist, where men and women wander, their eyes open but their souls asleep, bound to moving in herds, moving in endless circles, their voices repeating what was said before, their thoughts borrowed, their dreams dim, like leaves drifting on a river they never chose. This is the tragedy of humanity, my friends, a life programmed, a soul unawakened, a tapestry unwoven, a fire unkind led, a garden unplanted, a river uncharted. The systems that surround us are like a lullaby, gentle yet unyielding, their rhythms soothing you into a sleep where questions are few, where dreams are rare, where dreams are few, and where the seed of awareness lies buried deep. The schoolhouse, with its rigid rows and dusty books, teaches you children to recite, to obey, to follow, not to question, not to dream, to think for themselves, not to awaken, not to plant the seed of awareness. Fire in their soul. It fills your mind with facts, but not with fire, with answers, but not with questions, with echoes, but not with truth, leaving the tapestry blank. The gray office, with its endless stacks of paper and silent desks, demands your time, not your mind, time, your heart, rewarding those who follow orders, who work without vision, who drift without question, chaining your spirit to the hum of routine, locking your soul in a prison of sameness, a garden where no dreams grow. The marketplace, with its bustling stalls and familiar calls, praises those who sell what is known, not what is new, who trades for comfort, offering coins for compliance and scorn for dreams, building walls where vision should stand, a fog obscuring the canvas of your soul. Dreams. The village, with its quiet hearths and familiar paths, expects you to stay in place, to repeat the lives of those before you, to let silence, to let your fire dim, to dim, leaving dreams fade like stars at dawn, leaving your tapestry unwoven. Consider the farmer, taught to plant the same crops as his fathers, to follow the same seasons, to walk the same fields, to avoid the risk of change, to keep his fire unlit, to keep the blindfold on. The village depends on his crops, and so he is told to stay predictable, to keep his dreams silent, to let his visions fade, to leave his garden unplanted. He plows without question, reaps without passion, and drifts through life, his heart heavy with an unspoken longing, his mind dulled by the clock tower's tick, his soul a spark unlit, a seed unplanted. The seamstress, urged to sew only what is needed, simple garments for the village, never to weave the works of beauty that burn in her heart, never to see beyond her blindfold. The village needs clothes, and so she is kept in place, her needle stitching in time with the hum of routine, her creations fading like the thread she uses, her spirit confined to the gray silence of duty, her fire extinguished, her tapestry unwoven. The clerk, trained to fill in ledgers, to count without questioning, to suppress his dreams of a life beyond, to let his fire remain unlit. The office demands his labor, and so he is bound by echoes, his superiors, his dreams of freedom buried under by piles of paperweight, his heart a ledger with no purpose, his soul a river uncharted, his life a canvas unwoven, tapestry unwoven. These systems, my friends, are like prisons of the mind, their walls invisible yet unyielding, keeping you safe from risk, but also from freedom, keeping you asleep while your dreams fade, while your fire dies, while your tapestry remains blank, your river uncharted. They comfort you with the promise of comfort, of safety, of ease. But comfort is the enemy of vision, the thief of awareness, the chain that binds your soul to a life unchosen. These systems fear the awakened mind, my friends, for a man or woman who awakens is a force unstoppable, a flame unquenchable, a tide uncontainable, a star undeniable, a river unyielding, a tapestry unbreakable. They fear a farmer who questions his fields, who might plant a garden that feeds not just his village, but his soul, who might weave a tapestry of abundance. They fear a seamstress who weaves dreams, who might create beauty that inspires others to awaken, who might sew a tapestry of hope. They fear a clerk who thinks beyond his ledger, who might build a life of purpose, who might forge a bridge to freedom. An awakened man or woman questions the schoolhouse, challenges the office, disrupts the market, rewrites the village's rules, lights a fire that spreads, weaves a tapestry that endures. This is why most remain asleep, my friends, because waking hurts. It is painful to see the blindfold, to feel the chains, to hear the echoes of a programmed mind, to step into the unknown, to plant a seed in untested soil, to forge a new path, to weave a new tapestry. The world would have you believe that sleep is safety, that to drift is peace, that to question is folly. But I tell you, as I said in Lead the Field, most people tiptoe through life, hoping to make it safely to death. Sleep is a prison, my friends, a fog where your dreams go to die, a chain that binds your soul, a canvas that remains blank, a tapestry that remains unwoven, a river that never finds its sea. The wise know this, and they choose to awaken, to think, to dream, to sow, to weave, to live. And so, I ask you, listener, will you remain asleep, or will you awaken? Will you feel the fire of this truth within you, or will you let it fade into the fog? If this message has stirred your heart, if it has awakened the rebel within you, join our fellowship. Write to us, share your thoughts, and let us know you're with us by leaving your mark of approval. Let us stand together as those who refuse to drift, as those who speak the truth, as those who live the freedom, as those who weave the tapestry. Will you let the clock tower lull you to sleep, or will you forge your own rhythm, a garden of awareness, a tapestry of fire? And now, my friends, we come to the heart of this truth, the seed that awakens, the key that unlocks, the fire that burns away the fog, the thread that weaves the tapestry of your life. It is this: you become what you think about most of the time. Speak these words, my friends, and let them take root in your soul. Write them down, as you would a sacred vow, in the quiet of your heart, by the light of a candle, on a page that will become the blueprint of your destiny. Repeat them each dawn, each dusk, until they echo in your mind like the chime of a bell, until they guide your thoughts like a compass, until they light your path like a flame, until they weave your life into a tapestry of purpose. These are not mere words, my friends. They are a law, a principle, a truth as eternal as the tides, as unyielding as the forge, as radiant as the star, as enduring as the garden, as boundless as the river. They are the key to reclaiming your mind, to undoing the programming, to awakening the master within you, to weaving the tapestry of your freedom. Plant these words in the fertile soil of your mind. Water them with faith. Nurture them with action. Light them with courage. Weave them with purpose. And watch as your life transforms into a garden of dominion, a fortress of achievement, a bridge to greatness, a tapestry that shines like the stars, a river that flows to eternity. Picture the baker, his shop a haven of warmth, his hands dusted with flour, his days once a cycle of routine, his heart once heavy with unvoiced dreams. He hears this truth, perhaps from a broadcast like this, and he writes it down. You become what you think about most of time. It stirs him, like a wind lifting a seed, like a spark in dry tinder. He begins to think, not just of baking bread, but of mastery, of a craft that feeds the soul of his village, of a legacy that warms hearts through generations. Each day he repeats the words. Each loaf he bakes with care, each moment he invests in his vision. And in time, his shop becomes a beacon, his bread a testament to nourishment, his name a whisper in every home, his life a garden that blooms with abundance, a tapestry woven with the fire of his passion. Picture the seamstress, her needle flashing in the candlelight, her dreams once silenced by routine, her heart once a quiet chamber of longing. She hears these words from a kind neighbor, and they resonate, like the toll of a bell, like starlight breaking through the fog. She writes them down, she repeats them, and she begins to think, not of simple garments, but of weaving beauty, of creating clothing that clothes the heart with hope, of building a legacy that shines through time. Each stitch she makes, each design she crafts, becomes a step toward greatness, and her shop becomes a sanctuary, her work a tapestry of grace, her life a flame that no darkness can extinguish. Picture the clerk, his days spent in the shadow of a ledger, his mind once filled with figures he did not question, his heart once heavy with want. He hears these words from a fellow worker, and they ignite him, like a hammer striking an anvil, like a tide turning. He writes them down, he repeats them, and he begins to think, not of numbers, but of purpose, of a life beyond the desk, of a legacy that builds rather than counts. He studies, he acts, he rises, and his life becomes a bridge to freedom, a testament to the power of thought, a garden of achievement, a tapestry woven with the threads of his will. Picture the farmer, his fields stretching beneath a boundless sky, his hands calloused from toil, his heart once heavy with the weight of routine. He hears these words from a wandering poet, and they awaken him, like a spark in dry grass, like a river breaking through stone. He writes them down. You become what you think about most of the time, and they become his compass. He begins to think, not of survival, but of abundance, of fields that yield not just crops, but dreams of a legacy that feeds the world. Each seed he plants, each furrow he plows, each harvest he reaps becomes a step toward a garden of riches, a life of purpose, a tapestry woven with the fire of his vision. Picture the poet, her chamber quiet, her pen idle, her heart aching with beauty unvoiced. She hears these words from a mentor, and they stir her, like a star breaking through the clouds, like a zephyr carrying light. She writes them down, she repeats them, and she begins to think, not of duty, but of eternity, of verses that lift the human spirit, of a tapestry woven with the light of her soul. Her lines become a flame, a beacon that burns through time, a legacy that no fog can dim. Picture the merchant, his shop a hub of trade, his heart once restless with the pursuit of profit. He hears these words from a fellow trader, and they resonate, like a star guiding his course, like a flame lighting his path. He begins to think, not of gold, but of harmony, of trade that unites nations, of a legacy that brings peace. His markets become a tapestry of connection, his life a river of purpose, his legacy a beacon that shines through time. These stories, my friends, are the lives of those who heard these words, who spoke them, who lived them, who sowed them, who wove them. They are the men and women who awoke, who reclaimed their minds, who undid the programming, who planted the garden, who forged the bridge, who wove the tapestry of their lives with fire and purpose. Speak these words, my friends, and let them be your guide. Let them be the compass that steers your mind, for your thoughts are your freedom, your thoughts sow your garden, Your thoughts kindle your fire. Your thoughts weave your tapestry. Your thoughts guide your river to the sea. As I said in The Strangest Secret, the architect of the universe didn't build a stairway leading nowhere. Think of what you are, not what you fear. Picture your life as vividly as a blacksmith sees his forge, as clear as a sailor sees the stars, as bright as a fire burns in the night, as enduringly as a garden blooms through seasons, as firmly as a bridge spans a river, as timelessly as a tapestry woven with eternal threads. And let that vision guide your every step, every action. Begin now with one step, however small. The farmer does not plant his field in a day. He sows one seed, then another. The seamstress does not weave a masterpiece in one night. She stitches one seam, then another. The clerk does not build a legacy in an hour. He learns one truth, then another. The poet does not write an epic in a breath. She crafts one line, then another. The merchant does not forge a bridge of harmony in a moment. He makes one trade, then another. Your thoughts are the seeds. Your actions are the water. Your faith is the sunlight. Your courage is the blade. Your vision is the thread. Your purpose is the tapestry. Your will is the river. Speak the words. Live the truth. Sow the seed. Kindle the fire. Weave the tapestry. Follow the river. And the freedom will follow. And so, I ask you, listener, will you speak these words that awaken your mind? Will you let them reclaim your soul? Or will you let them fade like a whisper in the fog? If this truth has stirred your heart, join our fellowship. Write to us, share your thoughts, and let us know you're with us by leaving your mark of approval. Let us stand together as those who refuse to be programmed, as those who kindle the fire, as those who live the freedom, as those who weave the tapestry. Will you choose now to wake up, to reclaim your mind, to weave your destiny, or will you drift, asleep in the fog of echoes? And now, my friend, we come to you, you who listen in the stillness of your heart, you who sit alone in the quiet of your room, staring at the ceiling, a solitary soul at the crossroads of your life, poised between the fog of sleep and the fire of awakening, between the chains of programming and the bridge to freedom, between the gray silence of routine and the thunder of your destiny, between the blank canvas of a life unchosen and the tapestry of a life you forge. I speak to you now, as if this were my final broadcast, as if these were the last words I might ever share, as if you stood at the threshold of eternity, ready to choose the life you will live, the legacy you will weave, the fire you will kindle, the tapestry you will create, the river you will follow. You are not a shadow, not a cog, not a leaf adrift on a river unchosen, not a soul destined to wander in the fog of a programmed mind, not a life condemned to echo the thoughts of others. You are a creator, a dreamer, a blacksmith, a gardener, a weaver, a captain, a force with the power to forge your destiny, to paint your life in colors bold and true, to kindle a legacy that will echo through the ages, to build a bridge that will span the heavens, to weave a tapestry that will stand eternal, to follow a river that leads to the stars. The truth you've heard today is yours to speak, to live, to sow, to weave, to make in a thunder, a flame that no darkness can extinguish, a tapestry that no storm can unravel, a river that no dam can stop. Do not let this truth slip away, my friend, like a whisper lost in the wind, like a spark that fades in the night, like a tide that ebbs back, like a seed that lies unsown, like a flame that lies unlit, like a bridge that lies unbuilt, like a tapestry that lies unwoven, like a river that never finds its sea. Speak it now, with courage, with faith, with the fire of your soul, with the light of your star, with the power of your tide, with the strength of your bridge, with the glow of your purpose, with the eternal thread of your destiny. Plant the seed of your awareness. Kindle the forge of your mind. Steer the ship of your thoughts. Weave the tapestry of your dreams. Build the bridge to your freedom. Follow the river of your life, and let the world marvel at what you become. Your life is a forge, not a mirror. It is a garden, not a chain. It is a tapestry, not a shadow. A river, not a prison. A star, not a flicker. Will you strike the spark now, or will you let it lie dormant? Will you plant the seed, or will you let the soil remain barren? Will you weave the tapestry, or will you leave the canvas blank? Will you follow the river, or will you drift away? This is Earl Nightingale, bidding you not farewell, but a new dawn, a new dawn, a new beginning, a new life of awakening. If this message has stirred your soul, if it has awakened the creator, the dreamer, the weaver within you, join our fellowship. Write to us, share your thoughts, and let us know you're with us by leaving your mark of approval. Together, let us speak the truth that breaks the programming. Let us live the freedom that awakens the soul. Let us sow the seeds that grow the garden. Let us kindle the fires that light the path. Let us weave the tapestries that endure forever. Let us follow the rivers that lead to the stars. The choice is yours, my friend, and the moment is now. The mind is not a mirror. It is a forge, and today you may strike the first spark.